We now go to session 5, the revelation and the preservation of truth. In the previous session, we explored two defining aspects of the human condition: freedom and the ability to change. We saw that human beings are given the power to choose and the opportunity to return. In this session, we explore two closely connected themes: revelation and the preservation of truth. Start with the theme revelation as guidance. We notice that across all revelation, a central principle appears. Human beings are not left without direction. Guidance is given, not discovered entirely on one's own, but revealed. In early traditions, revelation appears as divine communication, messages delivered to chosen individuals. These messages warn, guide, and correct, but they are often limited in scope, directed to specific communities at specific moments. Then, in the Moses tradition, revelation becomes more structured. It is not only guidance, but law, a defined system that governs belief, behavior, and social order. Revelation now shapes not just individuals, but entire communities. And in the teachings of Jesus, the emphasis shifts. Revelation is not reduced, but its focus becomes more internal. The message calls people back to sincerity, to intention, to the spirit behind the law. It restores meaning where formalism may have taken over. In the Quran, revelation reaches a comprehensive form. It addresses belief, ethics, law, and human purpose as a unified system. Guidance is complete, balanced, and accessible. It speaks not only to specific group, but to the humanity as a whole. So, across these stages, we found a pattern that became clear. Revelation begins as guidance for particular contexts, then becomes structured, then refined, and finally presented as a complete and universal system. Thus, human beings are guided step by step toward clarity. We move now to the next theme: preservation and transmission of Scripture. Well, if guidance is revealed, a second question arises: how is that guidance preserved? How does it remain accessible across generations? We notice in early tradition, preservation is largely oral. Teachings are transmitted through memory, through communities, through generations of narration. But over time, variation can occur, interpretation expands, details shift, and layers of understanding are added. In the stage of Moses, who lived in the 13th century BCE, his teachings were compiled between 1000 to 500 BCE, with final editing likely during or after the Babylonian exile, 6th century BCE. Written scripture became preserved in text at that time, although it is a long time since Prophet Moses came. So it is preserved in text and maintained within a community structure. In later traditions, including the gospel accounts, preservation continues through documentation, but also through multiple narrations, interpretations, and community transmission. This allows the message to spread widely, but also introduces variation in how it is recorded and understood. In the Quran, preservation reaches a distinct form. The message is both memorized and recorded from the beginning during the life of the Prophet. During the Caliphate of Uthman, around 20 to 25 years after the Prophet, a standardized written text without dots or vowel marks was compiled and distributed. Copies were sent to major centers, to Medina, Mecca, Kufa, Basra, and Damascus. And by around 750, the Quran script had fixed consonantal text unchanged since the Uthman Mus'haf, fully developed vowel and dot system. It continued to be recited, repeated, and transmitted with precision from generation to generation. In Quran, preservation is part of the message itself. The text is maintained, protected, and standardized. So we saw across these stages a clear development appears. Early transmission relies on memory and narration. Then writing becomes central. Then multiple forms of preservation emerge. And finally, in the Quran, preservation is continued, oral and written, individual and communal, working together to maintain accuracy. Thus, guidance is not only revealed, it is preserved across all revelations. The purpose remains constant. What is the purpose? From all revelation, the purpose is to guide humanity. But the form of delivery and the form of preservation becomes more structured, more accessible, and more complete over time. In the next session, we move further from revelation itself to how human beings understand it, knowledge, truth, and their role in shaping society, and how guidance becomes lived reality. Thank you for listening.